Before we get into this video, I need your help. Do you actually get any value from these training recap videos, and should I continue to make them? I'm aware that this is the 5th video now that is essentially the same thing each time, and if you really wanted to see my training, you could just follow me on Strava. So should I continue to do these? Please do let me know in the comments down below. With that out of the way, let's start the week off with Monday, where just like last week, I didn't have any training scheduled. Because of my working in the office schedule, it made sense to move Monday's session back a day to Sunday when I have more time to play with. I did still commute into work on the bike, so nothing really special to say about Monday, but I did notice that the weather is starting to change as it was still light on the way home, and I actually end up getting a little bit too warm, so a positive sign that spring isn't far away. On Tuesday, I moved my sessions around again, which meant it was a double day. I did drive into work on this day just so I had a bit more time, especially in the morning. So before that, I had 75 minutes to do on the bike with a solid hour of tempo intervals with no rest. I made an effort to work in and out of the aero position just to get more used to being in position and to build the muscle memory of moving in and out. The session felt good and I was pleased to have got it done, even though it wasn't particularly taxing. Later in the day, after work, I decided to do a run session that was originally planned in for later in the week. It wasn't anything special at all, just 35 minutes of base running. So I headed out to get that done when I got back from work. I did end up going a little bit faster than planned at around 5-10 kilometers and had a bit of a blister start to develop, but otherwise it was a decent run. As I moved my sessions around, I didn't actually have anything planned in on the Wednesday. Tuesday was a bit of a bigger day, so not having to do anything was actually quite nice. I still commuted in on the bike and had a lovely ride in thanks to the tailwind. But of course, I was going straight into a horrendous headwind on the way back. On Thursday morning, I went for a swim when the pool opened at 6:30 AM and actually quite enjoyed it. That was up until I swallowed a load of water, which started a stomachache, which ended up lasting for most of the day. I did 2.5K, so a bit more than last week, and technique definitely felt better today. My catch still need work, but I did make an effort to keep my arm extended out for longer, rather than force it down as soon as my hand enters the water. A bit later on, I did consider going out for an easy run at lunch, but decided not to in the end as I had 3 runs to do, 3 days on the trot for the rest of the week, so that swim was all I ended up doing on Thursday. On Friday, I had a run scheduled, which was just 40 minutes of base running, finishing with 4 20-second sprints, preferably up a hill. I wore my Saucony Guide 15s for the second time, and I'll be honest and say I was a little bit disappointed with them. I'll share my thoughts on these in a dedicated video where I cover my shoe rotation for the year, so make sure you're subscribed for when that one's out. The base work was fine, but my hips were absolutely killing as soon as I started the sprints, a sign that they're just too tight and I really do need to work on them. I had a bit of a bigger weekend of training coming up, so took it easy for the rest of the Friday, resting up ready for tomorrow. On Saturday, I had a brick session to do, starting early doors on Trainer Road for a 75-minute ride with 6 blocks of sweet spot intervals, varying between 10 and 8 minutes with a short amount of recovery in between. I found out that I had run out of carb powder, so had some food whilst on the bike today, especially as I had a brick run to do straight after, so wanted to make sure I was fueled well enough for that. My choice of carbs were a couple of fig rolls, a fruit baked bar and a gel, which I had during the cool down ready for the run. The bike session went okay, but it did start to feel a little bit tough towards the end. Again, I made an effort to work between the 3 different positions on the bike, the hoods, the drops and the aero bars, which helped break up the intervals a bit. After the bike, I quickly changed my shoes, put on a fresh t-shirt and my head torch, went to the loo and headed out the door. The plan was for a 20-minute brick run at a steady pace, but I wanted to simulate the sort of pace I'd run in a sprint triathlon or duathlon, so picked up the pace a bit. I was very pleased with this run. Pace was just over 4-minute kilometers and my average heart rate actually stayed below 160, which is quite low for me at that pace. Definitely a positive sign that my fitness is moving in the right direction. On Sunday, I decided to change things up a bit and wanted to do a run that focused on some specific half marathon pace efforts, as I have the Bideford half marathon in early March. I settled on doing a nice warm up, then 2 15-minute blocks at half marathon pace with a 2-minute walk recovery in between. I was expecting to run around 4:30 kilometers, but ended up going a bit faster at 4:24 for the first and then to 4:21 for the second. These felt really nice and cruisy and was a good test for a new pair of shoes which I recently picked up for speed work like this. With the cool down back home, I finished at 13.5 kilometers in an hour and 7 minutes. This run definitely filled me with more confidence that I could set a new PB and go under 1:35 in March, especially with the new pair of carbon plated racing shoes that I now have. So that is this week's training all wrapped up. Don't forget to let me know in the comments whether you are actually getting value from these videos and want me to continue making them, I definitely won't be offended if they don't add any value, as I can then focus a bit more on those videos that actually do. If you want to see some of the previous week's training, click on the playlist on the screen now, where I have 4 weeks worth of training for you to catch up on. If you enjoyed this one, please do drop it a like and make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. I've got some really cool videos coming out soon, which I really hope you all enjoy. Thanks so much for watching this one, and I'll catch you next time.